This video is how to define levels for our little typology study. And levels are a way in which to determine depth in the z-axis, as well as identify certain planes that we would draw on or reference. So if we go here and look in this south elevation, you'll see that the default file template has two levels automatically in there. I've already drawn in a site conditions and done some and dimensioned it basically 100 feet by 75 feet. This will be explained in another video, how to create this site. It's basically the curb, and so we'll assume that this is the curb and that the site is flat. And the first thing we're going to do to create a level is, you'll notice that this level right here, level 1, is set at 0, 0. And we're going to identify this as our first finished floor. So I'm going to just go here and put level FF for finished floor. So this is the level of our finished floor. The second level here I'm going to name as FF2 for the level 2 finished floor. And once again, you'll see this little pop up and it says, do you want to rename all corresponding views? My recommendation 99.9% of the time is say yes to this. I don't know why you wouldn't, but there are probably cases where you might not. And then so I'm going to put in a level first that represents the curb, because in most cities the building curb is actually usually kind of the 0, 0 point, but to make it easier to draw, I've established the finished floor as 0, 0. But this curb it normally has to be at least a foot below the finished floor, or the finished floor has to be a foot above, so that water won't go from the curb back into the building, right? So, and that may vary based on different building codes, different conditions. So the first thing I'm going to do is put a level in here to represent the level of the curb itself. And to do that, I'm going to go to Architecture tab. Okay, you can see right here. So let's put this in. So Architecture, level, and I'm going to draw a level just snapping it to that right there, which is a -1 foot, as I mentioned before. And you'll see that their names are going to cross on each other. So I'm going to just hit the escape key, and that'll twice, and that'll get me out of the command. And then I'm going to click right here. I'll see that little Z. I'm going to click right there, and that will break the line. Okay, so I'm going to move this down here a little bit, the break a little bit further down. This will move the text. So I'm going to break that line, and then I'm going to click again on it if I can. Okay, and you'll see right here there's a little circle, and that controls where the end of it is. So I'm going to click on that. You may have to wait just a second for it to recognize it, but when you click and that turns to a little square, that means you have that selected. And of course I could break that further down if I wanted to get it out of the way. Okay, and that's just called a break. And then of course the end of this is not where I want it either, so I'm going to drag it down. And it's kind of hard. I wish I had a bigger screen, but I can't record it larger. So you'll have to live with me panning a lot. Now let's go in, and you'll notice it's called this was FF, so it changed it to GG. Okay, but we're going to change that name of that's the view. We're going to change the name of that view. Rename, and we're going to call this top of curve, TOC. That's a kind of a standard abbreviation. in architectural drawings to represent the top of the curve. So we have our top of the curve, and notice it's set at -1, and our first level floor is set at 0. The next thing we're going to do is change the distance. You'll notice when we click on here, the distance between these is 10 feet, and as we predetermined in our kind of pre-design, that our first floor we want to be about 18 feet. So we're going to call it 18 feet for right now. And then now we need to add another level. Okay. Last time when I drew this line by using architecture level, okay, when I drew it, you'll notice it created a floor plan level for me. It created a structure plan level for me, and it created ceiling plans. In other words, it created corresponding views. But there's another way to create levels, but when you use it, it doesn't create those, and that is to use the copy command, the kind of move copy command. So if I select this and I hold down the control key and I move it, okay, it creates another view. It'll snap depending on how close I'm in to different dimensions, and this I'm going to set to 13 foot 6 inches. So I'm just typing in 13 foot 6 inches. And so there's my second, so here's my first level, my second level, my third level. And I'm going to set this to level 3, finished floor. I like 03, finished floor. So now I have level 1, level 2, level 3. But notice when I created this, there is no level 3 over here, okay, in these views. There's no level 3 added to the structural plans. There's no level 3 added to the ceiling plans. So how do I get a level here? Well, what we have to do is go to View, okay, and create that view. This is the project browser. So we're going to create that view, and we're going to go to View, Plan Views, and we're going to create a floor plan, and it's going to show me all the levels that do not have floor plans yet. So I'm going to click on Floor Plans, and now I have level 3. If I wanted a ceiling plan, I could go back in here, go a reflected ceiling plan, select level 3, and say, okay. So you can only, now you can duplicate these, but you can only have one view of that, okay, or one. And so it opened those. So now we have level 3. Once again, let's rename this to keep my convention the same. 0. Okay. Yes. And then the next thing we're going to do is add the roof level. Okay, top of roof. And so I'm going to copy that again. Or let's just draw the level. Architecture level. And so I'm going to draw the level. And go in here, once again, modify its depth to 13 foot 6 inches. And now these might change as the project develops, but for right now, those are good starting points. Okay, so now we have our levels that we need to draw our structural system. The next video will go into creating a foundation and columns in primary structural grid.